Some fighters try to survive in the cage. Khabib Nurmagomedov turned the cage into a prison. He didn't knock people out. He broke them. Mentally, physically, round by round. 29 fights, 29 wins. Never stopped once. But behind all that dominance, there's a kid from the mountains of Dagestan, a father who built a fighter from scratch, and a story that ended in tears in the middle of the octagon. Today, we break down the Eagle, how he fought, why nobody could stop him, and the moment that changed everything. Stay until the end, because the way this story ends, nobody saw it coming. If you're into real fighter stories, the technique, the mentality, the rivalries, you're in the right place. Subscribe to the channel and join the community. We're building a full MMA story library, fighter by fighter, not just highlights, the real stuff. And Khabib is one of the most special cases in this entire sport, because his story isn't just about being undefeated. It's about where he came from and what it cost him. So let's go back, long before the UFC, long before the belt, to a village in the mountains of Dagestan. To understand Khabib, you have to understand Dagestan. It's a region in southern Russia where wrestling isn't a hobby. It's culture. It's identity. Boys wrestle before they can read. Strength and discipline are non-negotiable. Khabib Nurmagomedov was born in 1988 in Sildi, a tiny village deep in the mountains. His father, Abdulmanap, was a decorated combat sambo champion and one of the most respected coaches in the region. From the age of 6, Khabib trained under his father. No gym with fancy equipment, just mats, mountains, and relentless repetition. Abdulmanap didn't just teach techniques, he built a system, a fighter who would not just win, but dominate. And there's a famous story from Khabib's childhood. His father once put him in a cage with a bear cub to wrestle it. A real bear. That's Dagestan. By his teens, Khabib had added judo and later sambo to his wrestling base. He became a 2-time combat sambo world champion before he ever stepped into an MMA cage. This wasn't a prospect being developed. This was a weapon being built. Khabib turned professional in MMA at age 20 and worked his way through regional promotions across Russia and Europe. Fight after fight, the result was always the same. He took people down. He held them down. He broke their will. By the time the UFC signed him in 2012, the reputation was already there. Inside the fighting world, people were already saying, "This guy is different." His UFC debut, a dominant decision win. His second fight? Same story. His third? Same. He didn't wow people with knockouts.
Khabib Nurmagomedov goes according to plan.
He did something harder to watch and harder to survive. He smothered fighters, controlled them completely, made elite opponents look like beginners. But the road to the title wasn't straight. Weight cuts, injuries, fights falling through. Khabib had multiple title shots scheduled that never happened. Tony Ferguson alone was booked against him 4 times. 4 times. It never happened once. But none of that stopped him. It only delayed the inevitable. This is where Khabib gets really interesting. Because when you watch him fight, it looks like chaos. But it's actually one of the most calculated systems in MMA history. It starts on the feet. Khabib uses a high hand position and cuts angles, constantly hurting his opponent toward the cage. He's not chasing, he's trapping. Every step removes one more escape route. Then comes the takedown. His signature move is the single leg. But it's not the typical shot you see in wrestling. He targets the opponent's leg, drives his head into their hip, and uses his body to control half their frame. From there, trips, hip throws, or a classic sambo body lock that drains energy and puts them on the mat. Here's what makes it almost impossible to defend. He uses the cage itself as a tool. Most fighters try to push off the cage to get back up. Khabib uses that exact moment to off-balance them and complete the takedown. On the ground, it gets worse. Sambo and Judo don't just teach how to hold someone down. They teach how to use your legs to control your opponent's legs and your arms to attack. Khabib applies crushing top pressure, constantly shifting position, making every breath harder than the last. He's not just fighting, he's suffocating. And the striking? Not flashy, but purposeful. Jabs to blind, right hands to force the guard up. And in that split second the opponent covers. He drops levels for the shot. Everything connects. This is why no one could stop him. You can't just train against the takedown. You have to defend the strikes that set it up. And if you defend the strikes, the takedown is coming. Khabib didn't just have fights inside the cage. He had wars outside it too. The biggest, Conor McGregor. The build-up to UFC 229 in 2018 was unlike anything MMA had seen. 18 was unlike anything MMA had seen before. McGregor threw a dolly through a bus window during fight week, injuring multiple fighters.
What the fuck?
Khabib's teammate was among them. Khabib said nothing publicly. He waited. When the fight finally happened, Khabib took McGregor down in the first round, locked him in a neck crank on the fence, and made one of the biggest stars in combat sports history tap out in round 4. Then, it got even more chaotic. After the fight, members of Khabib's team jumped into the octagon and went after McGregor's corner. Khabib himself leapt over the fence and went after McGregor's team. His win was almost overturned. His belt was held temporarily. He was fined and suspended. But even through all that, the belt stayed with him. His other great rivalry was with Tony Ferguson, a fight MMA. Fans wanted more than almost anything. Booked 4 times, canceled 4 times. It never happened. One of the biggest what-ifs in UFC history. Khabib's final fight came on October 24th, 2020, UFC 254. His opponent, Justin Gaethje, the interim champion, one of the most dangerous fighters in the lightweight division. But 3 months before that fight, Khabib's father, Abdulmanap, passed away. Complications from COVID-19. The man who built him. The man who was there for every single training session since he was 6 years old. Khabib flew to Abu Dhabi and fought anyway. The fight lasted less than 2 rounds. He clinched with Gaethje, worked to the ground, and locked in a triangle choke from the top position. A submission he had never used before in his career. Gaethje had no choice but to tap, and then Khabib knelt in the center of the octagon, put his face on the mat, stayed there. When he stood up, he was crying. He removed his gloves and placed them on the canvas. He said,
"Thank you. Today, I want to say it was my last fight. And no,
today I want to say this was my last fight. Ain't no way I'm going to come here without my father. 29-0. Undefeated UFC lightweight champion, retired just like that. It was over, and the sport has never quite filled that space since. Khabib Nurmagomedov walked away from MMA completely undefeated, and did it on his own terms. Not because he had to, because he chose to. 29 fights, 29 wins. A system so complete that nobody, not McGregor, not Poirier, not Gaethje, could break it. Now the question is, will we ever see another fighter like him? Someone who combines that grappling base, that mental dominance, that kind of preparation. His student Islam Makhachev is the current lightweight champion. Same system, same Dagestan roots. Maybe the Eagle didn't just retire. Maybe he multiplied. Drop your opinion in the comments. Is Khabib the greatest lightweight of all time, or is there someone who could have beaten him? If you're here watching until the end, you're exactly who this channel is for. Subscribe so you don't miss the next fighter story, because the next fighter we cover has one of the most insane journeys in MMA, and it almost destroyed his career before it really started.